The second match of the day, though, features the Boston Uprising, but this squad is no longer featuring their main tank. The face, Mr. Gamsu, is gone. The Shanghai Dragons acquired Gamsu from the Uprising earlier this week. The Dragons desperately needed help at main tank, and Boston was willing to part ways with the veteran Gamsu. So, Zoe, were you surprised that Boston was willing to move another player from this roster?
I honestly was. I mean, during the offseason, we saw them getting rid or parting ways with some of their key players, such as Striker, which really held that team together. Now, they picked up a lot of new players, and I was still confident to see Boston Uprising in the middle of the pack, very confident, very comfortable there, because their tank lineup was still completely intact, and Gamsu has always been very reliable. But now with Gamsu out of the equation, I do worry for that squad.
Boston moves on without Gamsu today, and the Uprising will take on the New York Excelsior, who were the clear top dog for most of our regular season, always in the stage finals. New York has added to their firepower this offseason, and for Boston, just 2 members of their 2018 squad are still here from opening day of 2018. So Hex, who should fans keep an eye out for the Uprising? A lot of new faces here.
Well, you're going to bring in new guys like Fusions is going to take over that main tank role right now, and then you've got another kind of diamond in the rough, good scouting job done by picking up Alamau as well. So they're going to come in. Look, you'd be a fool to bet against Boston. Didn't we all learn our lesson last year?
Yeah.
They have the same philosophy as their parent organization, the New England Patriots. We're a system, next man up, do your job. We're going to scout, we're going to put players in. And they've scouted all over the world and gotten some of these new players, but Fusion's going to have to step up.
I heard the GM, Huck, was training underneath Belichick. It's going to be interesting. All right, well, Selmore, we got to talk about the NYXL because this squad was dominant last year before falling short in the postseason. So what are you expecting to see from the best team in New York today?
Oh, color me foolish, Hex. Color me foolish. I'm betting against Boston in this match because I think that New York, they've done everything right. They've kept the core together. This team that has a vast amount of experience, straight dominating the league. Let's keep that in mind. Pretty much the entire Overwatch first season was New York XL just running over everybody in their way. And then they've only added to that now. So, you know, you have the changes in meta. These are changes in patches, changes in strategy. That came back to hurt NYXL towards the end of that first season. They've just gone ahead and fixed that problem now. So we have players like Flower who are going to come in here. Big star, made a huge impression in the past. He's been on this roster now for a while, waiting in the wings, and this is going to be his time to shine now because he is capable of it all. And that's only going to help NYXL.
I think a lot of people will remember back to the 2017 World Cup. This guy was all over the kill feed. Look out for Flower here today. We'll see if they run him for the NYXL. Now, when the Gladiators benched Fissure last postseason, we were all scratching our heads. Coming up, you're going to hear from Fissure about the drama with LA, his transfer to the Seoul Dynasty, and how he feels about facing off against his old team a little bit later.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
Welcome back to the Watchpoint pre-show. It's a packed house here in the Blizzard Arena for opening day of the 2019 Overwatch League season. Many of these fans can't wait to see their hometown Gladiators take on Fissure in the Seoul Dynasty. It seemed like a nasty breakup, though, between the powerful main tank and LA's last year. But as Fissure tells us, it was really what he wanted all along.
Fissure is a star talent, a pivotal player for LA Gladiators.
That's a big earth shatter. Oh, it's perfect, Fissure.
You've benched your superstar player here in Fissure. This just seems like madness from the outside.
전 살면서 한 번도 제가 뭔가 영어 공부를 제대로 해본 적도 없고 영어 단어로 인해서 게임을 사용해 본 적도 없고 스테이지 2 당시 제가 글래디에서 너무 많이 힘들었었어요. 굉장히 많이 날카로워지고 신경질도 많이 나게 되고 그게 스테이지 2 당시 문제가 많았어요. 팀 내에서. 스테이지 2 당시에 제가 하나 약속받았던 점은 제가 이제 글래디에서 스테이지 4가 끝나고 나오게 된다면은 제가 원하는 제가 한국팀 더 이상 스트레스 받지 않기 위해 한국팀을 갈 수 있게 해주기를 약속받았었어요.
전 시즌에는 저희가 이렇게 주도적으로 뭔가 이끌어주고 이런 선수가 크게 없었는데 퓨어 선수 스타일이 이제 팀을 잘 이끌어주고
메인탱에 피셔가 들어왔기 때문에 저희 팀을 움직이는 데 있어서 좀 더 빠르다고 해야 되나? 그런 게 달라졌다고 느끼고 있어요.
저희가 첫 경기가 글래디에이터하고 아마 경기가 있는데 저희가 잘 많이 견제할지는 잘 모르겠는데 좀 더 공격적으로 하고 또 피셔를 좀 더 포커싱 한다든지 이런 플레이가 나올 것 같아요.
저를 뭔가 대상으로 전략을 짠다기보다는 그냥 서울 다이너스티라는 팀을 대상으로 그렇게 좋은 경기력을 보여줄 것 같아요.
I don't know about you guys, but I love that black and gold. Now, Kuki was the most commonly used main tank for Seoul Dynasty last year, but this year Kuki is with the Valiant. And as you can see, Fissure's stats in crucial team fights were higher in every category. On paper, Fissure is a huge upgrade for the Dynasty. So, Zoe, do you have any concerns about how Fissure is going to fit in? It's not always just what we see on paper.
That's true, and Puckett, I always have concerns about actually everything in the world, and this is one of those things. Fissure, sure, the Seoul Dynasty, they needed a main tank. They needed a leader. They needed Fissure, and they got Fissure, and this is going to be a great upgrade for that team. However, this is his third team. I repeat, the third team. In the video, he talked about how he struggled with the language barrier when he played with the Gladiators. But what about London Spitfire he played before? They are an all-Korean team as well, and clearly there was no language barrier there. So is it maybe, again, a clash of egos? Let's see how long this is going to go well for.
I'm just looking to see his resilience here because he's coming into a roster with a nation watching every move. An enormous amount of pressure is on Seoul Dynasty to perform after their lackluster performance last season. So going into this season, they have to get something done. They have to start off strong, get some wins. They did that last season. Now they have to just keep doing that. And I think having Fissure on the roster now is going to make a world of difference, and it's actually going to help them succeed.
Let's talk about the other side, though, Hex. Of course, Fissure is going to help Seoul Dynasty in theory, but what about the Gladiators? Are they going to miss their main tank? Because clearly they didn't get the results they wanted in the playoffs.
They didn't get the results they wanted in the playoffs, and there was a lot of pressure on them to replace Fissure. But I think they got the players that they wanted in the offseason is the big deal. They're able to add in one of the most sought-after free agents into the Overwatch League in Decay, and then you replace Fissure with a guy like Roar, and they've got some history together. You add yet another Finnish support in there, and you've got now 3 in the back line. I think this team made all the right moves in the offseason to answer any questions you may have had about them.
Looking forward to seeing this battle. Keep your eyes on Roar, that main tank. But guys, a little bit later, we'll actually find out who is the winner of the Fissure Bowl. Do you guys like that name? The Fissure Bowl for LA versus Seoul. It works for me today. Later today, though, we'll also see another main tank in a different uniform. Our insider, Emily Tang, is with the Shanghai Dragons to find out how Gamsu might be able to help them get their first win. That's ahead on the Watchpoint pre-show. Welcome back to the Watchpoint pre-show. In our fourth match today, the Shanghai Dragons will face the Hangzhou Spark. The Dragons were 0-40 in Season 1, and, well, they've hoped to be adding some powerful pieces. Gamsu is hoping to help them secure their fate this season. For more on how their new main tank is integrating, here's our own Emily Tang.
General Manager Van last night about their acquisition of Gamsu. He told me that the addition of the Star Tank has allowed the team to breathe a little as their main tank, Fearless, had to go back home to Korea and tend to some health issues. He told me that while Gamsu has been a great fit for the team, he is unlikely to play tonight because he's still adjusting to the roster. One bright spot for Gamsu, though, it's his birthday today, so hopefully the Shanghai Dragons will celebrate with their first Overwatch League win tonight. All right, Bucket, back to you.
Thank you, Emily. Here's a look at Shanghai's opening day roster. We may have to wait to see the interesting tank combo of Gamsu and Geguri. They got a lot of fans rooting for them here in the venue, and we'll see if the Dragons can make them smile with a win tonight against the Hangzhou Spark later on. There is so much to cover here on opening day of the 2019 Overwatch season that we almost forgot it's Valentine's Day. Love you, babe. Sorry about the car keys. Analysts, guys, it's time to show who you're crushing on this season coming into the 2019 league year. So let's start things off here. Hexagrams, who are you crushing on in the 2019 season?
During the 2018 season, I wanted to be Jonak. During the 2019 season, I just want to be Happy. And Happy is a player that I am crushing on in a big way. He's not going to play today, but Guangzhou plays tomorrow. And if you love good Widow play, this guy is going to be a treat if he gets to play Widow. In my opinion, already top 5 Widow in the league, maybe the best Widow v Widow in the league. If you don't know of him, you're going to find out. Happy's my guy.
I'm a big fan, especially Zari. What about you, Zoe? There's a lot to choose from here. Who's your Valentine?
Oh boy, Pocket. I guess the right answer would be my boyfriend. But honestly though, it's gotta be Gesture. We shared a lemon last year. That means we're practically married at this point. I have a lot of moments with him. He doesn't speak Korean. No, he doesn't speak English. I don't speak Korean. But somehow the spark was still there. And he's reliable. He's a rock. He's my main tank.
Any man who eats a lemon for you, definitely a good guy.
Dude,
all right,
that guy.
Semmer, last but not least, I know you had a tough time choosing this one.
It was a long, thought out process here, Puckett. So many players to pick from. Had to go with players, and so I went with this guy, Color Hex. I think that's great.
The new
got
player
the British
for Boston.
way. He's got the British way, but then the issue is, Puckett, that apparently he can't play today.
He can't play today. That's right. He's out for 2 games.
So I'm going with the guy I wanted to go with all along.
Oh,
It's my B. It's my boy. Oh, that makes me happy.
There we go. There we go.
full
we made it.
circle. We did it, guys. Way cute. All right. Well, let us know on Twitter. Let us know in the chat who's your Valentine, who's your crush here. We are less than 10 minutes from our rematch of the Grand Finals. The Fusion and the Spitfire have some fighting words for each other after the break. Don't go anywhere. This is the Watchpoint pre-show.
is your Overwatch League champion!
저희 팀이 그랜드 파이널에서 우승을 하게 돼서 되게 기뻤고
놀랐다가 제일 컸고 아무래도 첫 우승이었다 보니까 큰 대회에서 이제 첫 우승이었다 보니까
History has been captured by the London Spitfire.
Playing against a team like London that are very precise, we just couldn't come back and they got the win.
Everyone falling like flies on the side of Philly, and there's nothing they can do. It's inexorable.
We lost pretty convincingly against London. For all of us, that was like really sad to lose this match. We all wanted to win. We like put everything into it.
What a story for London Spitfire.
시즌2 이제 개막전을 또 이제 필라델피아랑 하게 된다는 걸 그 대진표를 봤을 때 감정은 또야?
약간 복수전 같은 느낌으로도 할 수 있을 것 같아서 만약 그 경기를 이기면 저희한테 되게 좋은 시작이 될 것 같아요. 필리가 복수전에서 복수를 할 거라고 생각은 그냥 50대 50 정도로 들어요.
Look at that Earth Shatter. They don't know what hit him.
보디스 런던과의 경기에서 4대 0으로 이기고 싶어요.
Carpe going wild on this Widowmaker right now.
My prediction will be like 3-1, I think. We're still gonna give them one map, so they won't be sad.
결승 때처럼 똑같이 이제 한 번 더 우린 너희보다 위다라는 걸 좀 보여주고 싶어요.
And there is a look at the Philadelphia Fusion setting up on the main stage. Carpe and EQO, those damage dealers, getting ready to put up a fight against Prophet and Birdring and the rest of this London Spitfire lineup. London, the returning champions, here to defend the crowd. We've been talking all day, guys. It's time to get into my favorite part of the show. It's where I get to really test your knowledge. Let's judge you right now. It's time to jump into predictions. Let's jump into this one. All three of you are starting things off here with London beating Philly in our grand finals rematch. It looks like a lot of people are happy with that. We also have the NYXL over Boston. Unfortunately, no one thinks Shanghai gets a win over the expansion Hangzhou Spark, but our casting buddies Selmar and Hex disagree on the Dynasty against the Gladiators. So friends, I know you're new, but this is old school. We settle this with a 30-second face-off. Go.
I decided I would rather exchange the hatred I'm going to get on Twitter from the Seoul Dynasty fans for the love I'll get in the arena for picking the Los Angeles Gladiators here. Make sure you tag me on social media with your Seoul Dynasty tag, Roar On, because I think they're going to get roared on by the new Los Angeles Gladiator tank. And yeah, I said it. They're going to beat them easy.
Dude, Fisher is going to just strangle that roar. It's going to turn into a squeak is what's going to happen. The Gladiators are about to get plucked. They're going to get that void filled. There's not going to be anything left of them at the end of the day. Hex, that's it. The Gladiators, they're done.
I mean, I agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
All right, guys, I love it. Well, it's time to finally start the 2019 Overwatch League season. Guys, make some noise. We're kicking it off in just a moment.
I think fans should be excited about this season because there's a lot of new teams, which means there's going to be a lot more competitors and rising stars.
It hasn't quite hit me yet. I'm sure once I get on stage, I go, oh my, I'm really here.
우리는 졌기 때문에 더 이상 내려갈 곳이 없습니다. 위로만 올라갈게요. Ever over.
I mean, yeah, obviously I'm excited. Why would you not be?
The nice headshot. Oh my no!
This crowd is on fire.
Yo, it is mad rowdy in here today, man.
And it's a swift, clean kill. Oh, that's naughty. I'm losing my mind. I can't take it anymore.
Every player has made leaps and bounds in his or her own play.
작년에 비해서 저희가 더 강해진 느낌이 받아요.
무조건 무사받을 겁니다.
I love this. I live for this. Is this happening? You better believe it.
It's been 200 days since the grand finals. Way too long, in my opinion, to say welcome back to the Blizzard Arena for the 2019 Overwatch League season. Are you guys ready to kick this off?
Right, they're clearly excited, and we can match that excitement. It's so great to be back here in the arena, and everyone watching is in for a treat today as we kick this season off with an epic rematch.
That's right, the epic rematch of the 2018 Grand Finals, where the London Spitfire, where the fans at, took down the Philadelphia Fusion. But today, it's Philly's chance for revenge.
Oh, they're gonna try their best, I'm sure. But you know what? I think I speak for everyone if I say I can't wait any longer. Are we ready to get this new season underway?
I love it. Starting off first, please get on your feet and put your hands together for the Philadelphia Fusion. Leading the charge, sports fans will recognize one of Philadelphia's most attractive faces. It's him. It's Gritty.
Valentine's Day is off to a good start. Look at those 6 familiar faces returning to the stage. 8 returning players overall, and of course a new addition in Elf, the support player, who we hopefully get to see later this week.
Philadelphia coming out. The fans are fired up. Gentlemen, starting 6, please take your seats. And there's a look at your starting 6. Carpe, EQO, Sato, Poco, Boombox, and Neptuno to open things up.
And as they are settling in on the stage, it is time to meet their opponent, our reigning Overwatch League champion. Please make some noise for the London Spitfire.
Coming out of the gates, it's the new players. We got Guard and Krillin carrying the Overwatch League trophy. And right behind them, you know them, you love it. It's your champions, Gesture, Prophet, and the rest of the London Spitfire.
And before we let the starting 6 take to the stage, we of course have a few questions. So Danny Lim, our new insider, is joining us down here on the floor to do some translation work. And Gesture will be joining us for that interview. You guys are the reigning champions, and you're about to go in for that big rematch against the Fusion, which, frankly, you made quick work of during the grand finals. Now, of course, the big question is, do you think the Philadelphia Fusion can get revenge on this stage today?
오늘의 런던과의 퓨전과의 리매치죠. 저번 시즌 마지막 그랜드 파이널 때 런던이 그나마 좀 제가 봤을 때 좀 쉽게 이긴 것 같았습니다. 오늘의 복수전 과연 필라델피아가 성공할 수 있을 것 같습니까, 지서 선수?
저는 확률은 50대 50이라 생각하고 힘 닿는 만큼 저희가 열심히 하겠습니다. I feel like there is about 50% chance that Philadelphia might win or us winning, but we will try our best to win them again.
All right, 50-50.
All right.
I guess it's everyone's game to win. Now, you are, however, the reigning champion, and that means every other team in the league will be gunning for you. You are the squad to beat. Do you have a message for every other team in the Overwatch League?
그랜드 파이널 챔피언으로서 제셔 선수 그리고 또 런던 스피파이어를 겨냥하는 많은 팀들이 이제 또 이 타이틀을 뺏어가기 위해서 좀 많은 노력을 하고 있는 것 같아요. 제셔 선수 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요. 그 많은 팀들에게.
저희는 우승을 했지만 여전히 똑같이 할 거고 저희는 열심히 하면 다시 우승할 수 있다고 생각합니다.
Although we are the champions, I feel like we always have to give our best, and if we just do that, we will be the champions for this season as well.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah, we take that as a promise, right, Pocket?
Well, gentlemen, we'll have your starting six. Take your seats here. London Spitfire fans, are you ready to see your team? Philadelphia Fusion fans, are you ready to meet your team? It's time to kick off the first match of the 2019 season, and there's no one better to bring in the action than two guys I love. Let's send it over. We got Mr. X and Uber for the cast.
Thank you very much, Chris. 200 days it's been since we were last hit in the Overwatch League, but we start where we left off. Our inaugural season champions going up, of course, against Philadelphia Fusion. It's a rematch, Matt. You love to see these kind of games, especially, essentially back-to-back. But let's think back now. All those months ago to the Barclays Center, no one really expected London to be such a dominant force coming into our inaugural season playoffs. But their level just shot up drastically over those last couple of weeks.
Yeah, London, they were up and down throughout the regular season. There was, a little bit of a dip in their performance. You saw Birdring come out of the roster. They were playing Hureg, who was on that roster at the time, the DPS slot. They couldn't really figure it out. That's when Philadelphia, they kind of went in the opposite direction, where EQO comes into the roster, where they put Shadowburn on the bench, and they started to climb and rise. But it was London at the end, man. All you need to be is good for those playoff weeks, and they were spectacular.
We played it over 2 days in the Barclays Center. The first series, Philadelphia Fusion actually looked like they were coming out quite strong. They actually managed to win a map in that series. You and I had the call on that game, and it looked like they'd be much more dominant. But things changed when we got to day 2.
Yeah, day 2 was not close. I think London could, smell the blood in the water, so to speak, and they came out firing. And I think Philadelphia, you go into the offseason, and are you happy with the way your season went overall? Probably, but to make it to the finals and lose like that, that's got to sting a little bit. So I'm going to see if they come out with a little bit extra fire on the stage today.
Now, London with a team that we expected to be dominant from the start, they fell off mid-season. Philly weren't even here for the first week of the Overwatch League. Let's not forget that. Their main tank player obviously didn't even start playing until stage 4. Sato obviously was sitting on the bench for a while, but look at this, Matt. Prophet, what a dominant performance in that match.
He's the MVP of the grand finals, and deservingly so. You see how far ahead he was in terms of final blows. Obviously, in Overwatch, you have eliminations. Final blows are the actual, you putting other character into the respawn. Yeah, so you see how good Prophet was there, led everybody by, wide margin. And I think, you look at him during the regular season, I don't even believe he was voted in for the All-Stars, which is ridiculous. He's like a reserve. But he was spectacular. I think, because London was a little bit inconsistent, his value kind of went down overall, but he is a phenomenal player.
I mean, looking on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, this is a team packed with star talent. But if you're just getting into the Overwatch League, or if you're interested in Philly, who's the player you'd be telling people to watch to really get their fix of star power in the Overwatch League?
I think people are going to know this name. It's Carpe. Even when I talk to people who are in other esports, they know at least who Carpe is when they think about Overwatch. And it's the Widow highlight clips. It's all the crazy plays he's able to pull off. I remember casting this one from last year, and some of his teammates you're talking to, they're like, we're 2 or 3 players down. And all he's saying is it's winnable, because he is that good that he can just come onto the point, land a bunch of headshots, and swing the fight in his team's favor.
I mean, that first clip was the one that we sort of have dubbed the winnable, quote, fight. There were many moments for Carpe across multiple different heroes across the entirety of our inaugural season. But let's have a look at the starting 6 today for the Philadelphia Fusion of the London Spitfire first. And it is probably no surprise to see the same roster that we saw prior.
Yeah, they trimmed down their roster. They had a pretty big roster in the inaugural season. Fissure was on this team at the beginning. They had a lot of players on the bench, and they couldn't really figure out the right mix once they settled on this 6, they started to really, pick up the play. And I think coming into this season, you really want to put the focus on these 6 players. They're so good together. Not surprised to see this being the starting 6.
Conservative in their off-season pickups. We've seen Guard and Krillin be brought into the fold for London Spitfire. Krillin has the most incredible hair, by the way. But of course, as we jump into this series, we're going to have our map set presented by Toyota. We're starting off on Ilios here. Sunny Shores for our first map of the 2019 season.
Yeah, now Ilios, potentially you see a lot of Widowmaker on Ruins. Looking at some of the other maps in this series, you look at Hollywood, Volskaya, Rialto. I think some maps where you can see a lot of variation outside of triple tank, triple support. I think we're going to see a lot of people probably expect to see a lot of triple tank, triple support coming into the week, and I think you should. I mean, I'm not going to tell you you're not going to see it. You're going to see it quite often, but I think you're going to see a lot of other crazy things that you probably would not have expected. Teams try that they've been working on in scrims leading up to the league to try and figure out if there's other compositions they can run to take advantage of some of these really high skill gap heroes that they can combo a few of them together and really make a powerhouse lineup.
I mean, we talked about this in the off-season, right? Since the Overwatch League finished, the inaugural season was over, we started seeing a lot more of this tank-heavy composition setup. That happened and prevailed over the off-season, but there have been whispers, changes. The game's still evolving, and so are these players. And it's all going to start here, ladies and gentlemen, on the map of Ilios. Lighthouse is where we begin. Last season champions versus the runners-up. And there's a score to settle.
So this is a point where I think you would see triple tank, triple support. If you see a variation move off of it, you probably see it loaded with DPS. Some verticality here. I think in maps and points where you see verticality in the map geography, I think that's where you'll see, like
so you can see ledges and bridges and overpasses.
You'll see the Pharas, the Hanzos, a lot of long-range damage that you can stay from afar. Doesn't look like you're going to see any of it now. It's going to be 3 tanks, 3 supports on 3 tanks, 3 supports.
Very conservative opening. This is a composition that's been called by some people goats. So if you do hear that being thrown around, that's what this is. Straight away, though, both teams are going to trade fairly conservatively here and trying to find an early piece. Going to be a shield bash towards Gesture, force him up on high.
And you do have Gesture playing Winston here instead of Reinhardt, and that's something, we talked about potentially, bringing up in the pregame, is that Gesture's a very good Winston. His Orisa's very strong as well. He didn't have in Season 1 a great showing on Reinhardt, a little bit up and down. So we'll see how London kind of goes about that. If he's worked in the Reinhardt during the offseason, it'll be Philadelphia in control of the point here first.
Philly have control of the point, but London don't lose the fight. They back away and concede that space. Philadelphia can now start accruing that percentage. Once they get to 100, it's all over. So the Spitfire need to find an opening.
I mean, you haven't seen anybody drop for either team. It's just that Philadelphia does a little bit more damage in that first fight. When Gesture jumps down, he has to jump up. London not able to engage, make a play for the point.
See, EQO, second time, he's focusing down Gesture, but that's the first kill. It's Boombox falling to Vidoshin. Always getting those picks in from the back line, and now things might just fall apart. Sato going by the wayside here, and Gesture pops the bubble up. It's an easy finish on Carpe. 1 kill in these heavy tank, heavy support compositions. Is it often enough to solve the fight there and then?
And obviously 1 kill can turn the tide in a fight. When it's your Zenyatta going down early, that is even bigger. You need the Discord Orb that Zenyatta provides to add that extra damage. As soon as Boombox goes down, you have no ability to use like a Transcendence, or you don't have that Discord Orb to provide that extra damage as they're coming to the point. That's a huge advantage for London there.
We'll discuss a little bit the team composition differences in just a moment, but that first pick was crucial. Gesture again looking to open up another opportunity. It was Neptuna that took a lot of damage, and the Graviton Surge now is out. Bergen lays it on thick, but there's a Transcendence for Fusion to keep them healed up despite the Zyrob being committed to the fight. Gesture jumps forward, Primal Rage stunned up for a moment. Look at his health disintegrate. He's over the edge! I guess if we forgot to bring his floaties today and Poco sends him off, that allows the Fusion to take the point now with the sound barrier from Neptuno in play. They can start to pressure a little further. Here's the grab, self-destructing over the top. Sato gets the pin on Prophet to remove him. But Poco, bit of fisticuffs with Fury. He's down.
I think that'll be a combo you see a lot during the season. The Graviton Surge with that D.Va self-destruct as Philadelphia with control of the point. Both teams use all their ultimates. Now you see Gesture go over and play Reinhardt. So now we have a mirror.
Why is this preferable to the Winston he started with?
Look, you ideally want the Reinhardt to go with his Zarya. I mean, those two heroes go hand in hand. They have since the beginning of Overwatch. And it makes it a lot easier. No, Gesture can walk up, take a ton of damage. He can also put down a ton of damage, swinging the hammer, get the bubble, then a defense matrix, right? Keep him alive for a very long time and allow him to build up that Earth Shadow rather quickly. And you see they just walk Gesture right into Sato and they're able to take him out.
A lot of burst healing there for the Spitfire, though. They're taking considerable poke damage, or I guess, considerable early damage in that fight. But losing Sato early is not what you want. You need your Reinhardt. So much damage mitigated, of course, by the shield, and now London, they're setting up pretty well. Graviton Surge is available for Birdring. Gesture has the Earth Shatter.
Well, while you combo a lot of these abilities and you're able to keep Gesture alive for that long, that's how he's able to build an Earth Shatter in his first fight, right? Like I mentioned, D.Va comes in with Defense Matrix, then the bubble comes through. Prophet with the Burst Heals. Here's going to come a rally, and there's an Earth Shatter from Gesture, and Philly in a world of trouble here, Mitch.
And they walked into that mat, they knew what they'd be going up against. I guess the disappointment for Philly is that they committed not only the Brigitte ultimate to the fight from EQO, but they may not have time to get back before the round's done. Time just not on their side, and the Spitfire will take this first round.
So, you know, Philly was able to get the point early and build up some percentage. But when you take a look at some of the numbers, it's so heavily in favor of London. And I think it's really just because, you know, Gesture on the Winston, we caught a little bit of it. He takes a lot of damage at the beginning, and then he has to jump back up to the high ground. And they're never really able to make a really strong first attempt to get the point. So here we'll take a look. It's going to be Gesture's Earth Shatter. See the rally coming in from Prophet, the rally.
Sato went for Fire Strike.
Perfect.
That's why they got caught. That shield would have been up. Sato, that's very risky to use a Fire Strike there when you probably have a feeling that maybe the enemy Reinhardt is close to having Earth Shatter, but maybe Gesture was so fast he wasn't expecting it.
I don't think he expected him to have it, because that was really only one fight that you saw Gesture play Reinhardt, and he had the Shatter, and I don't think they expected the position he was going to be playing. Both main tanks will play Winston here on this point. A lot of verticality, a lot of opportunity for Winston to dive in, get a ton of value.
Trying to find early picks on those more vulnerable targets, i.e. the Zenyatta, Lucio here. Birdring taking a back seat and getting half charged here for the bubble that he's given over towards Gesture, and these teams will trade for the time being. Birdring's health was low, health a pack given by Prophet to repair him up. Now the fight transitions to the point. Carpe forced to use a barrier on himself, but there it is. But Ocean gets picked off on the backside. They can't even punish Sato for this one as he gets away with the jump. That's what you're looking for here in these comps.
You see Philly a lot like the first point. They're able to take control first. As you see Sato there, he gets a bubble from Carpe when he jumps in, and then when the bubble wears off, that's when he uses his own Winston bubble. By the time that wears down, you think you have the cooldown to jump right back out so you can get back to safety. But the one thing I want to mention here, you're only, with Zarya, you're only really getting a ton of value if you're able to build a ton of charge, right? You see Gesture now go over to Reinhardt, great target to build charge. The Birdring's got double the energy, average energy of Carpe throughout the game thus far. That's a huge difference.
Definitely leading in that particular metric. Poco and the rest of the Fusion just take a step back. Their defense matrix committed, and Philly playing a little bit safe for the time being. 35% progress towards ending this round, and the London Spitfire, they're hankering for a fight. Looking for some argy-bargy, and Birdring's got the Graviton Surge ready to go.
He's just trying to make sure that this does not get even. He gets EQO and Sato. Sato uses Primal Rage to stay alive. That's going to be a big grab that comes out from Carpe. It's going to be a 6 sound barrier, though. You see Nuss dancing up top on the Lucio. Connects with everybody.
Just in the nick of time to keep the Spitfire alive, and the fight continues. Sato drops down, he's stunned up. Self-destruct over the top. It doesn't hit anyone. Fusion able to break ranks and get away, but Birdring is fell. Poco charges in. Sato now quick to chase or lick at the heels of the Spitfire. London don't want any more of this fight, and Philly just want to make sure they know that they won.
And with the Winston in play for the Philadelphia Fusion, it makes it hard for Birdring, because, you know, when you have Reinhardt, you can expect the team to kind of huddle around Reinhardt. You need to play around him. It's very difficult to land like a big Graviton Surge, right? That you can take advantage of the huge self-destruct. Gesture with an Earth Shatter as well. Who do you go to Earth Shatter? You know, Philadelphia can play a little bit more spread out. You're not going to see like
so many ways to
huge Earth Shatter. I mean, look at from Gesture's POV. He really doesn't have any options here.
Oh, he tries to bait them by turning his back, but it doesn't work. Goes for the 180 bangerang, and he's still going to get taken down. EQO pushes in now, rally out from both Brigittas. And up to the high ground is Fury. He doesn't want any of it. Rising Tide, and he's out of there.
If your best option is to try and bait with like a 360 Shatter, it's probably not looking good. As you see Philly just trying to close this out. Overtime burning down. That's a grab that comes out. Sato gets stuck in it. He's going to use Primal Rage to stay alive. Jumps back up top.
Very ineffective there. Just the main tank caught, and he just heals through it. Or gets healing. EQO is down. You see Gestures on his own on the point. It's not where you want to be as Reinhardt. Birdring trying to keep himself shielded up now, but Sato was a little bit disgruntled about the solo grab earlier on. He himself with a score to settle. Obviously this fight proceeds with Prophet trying to move off. Essentially the fight had already been lost about 30 seconds prior. It's just a matter of cleaning up.
So that time you see the Winston play pay off. You know, London tried it on the first point. on Lighthouse. It didn't really work out for them. They go over to the Reinhardt. That time, Sato was able to stay on the Winston the entire time. Did a nice job. You know, whenever they would like solo grab him, he would always make sure he has Primal up. You don't have to blow a support ult to keep him alive, right? You know, the Primal Rage, you get a ton of HP up to 1,000, and you're able to just stay alive with ease.
Very dominant round there from Philadelphia. Never lost control at that point. It doesn't really matter now. One more round to decide the map of Ilios here. We head to Lighthouse. A little bit of a different map. We do see a lot of teams go for the Orisa play here, Matt. It seems to be the safest, but Philly, they're going for the Winston.
Yeah, London's going to have the Orisa. No Roadhog here. You know, the halt hook combos. You're going to see Fury stay on D.Va. As Sato dives in, he gains a little bit of information. He sees what they're running. Has to be careful. And you're not able to jump out because the halt comes through, the flashbang as well. A lot of CC able to stun him there and burn him down.
Philadelphia identified that the weakest part of this London Spitfire setup is probably Birdring on McCree. He lacks mobility, doesn't have a lot of tools to peel for himself or to peel enemies off. But if he has the protection from his teammates, you see situations like that where he gets to use the flashbang, takes Sato out of the fight. And now this becomes really annoying for Philly to remove London from the point.
I mean, Philly just has to fully commit their entire team to dive here.
It's gonna work.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to take out Profit as you lose Hanzo. It's Carpe coming on a little bit of a flank. Able to pick up 3 you know, you saw some players from Philly jump through the front. Carpe moves through that side door and then rotates around to the back. And able to pick up 3 final blows there to swing it back in Philly's favor. I actually thought Philly was going to have a tougher time taking that back.
We did notice, obviously, the positioning there from the Hanzo, from the Spitfire, was pretty far away from the rest of his team. There was definitely a good window for Sato to jump in. And now the Spitfire say, look, we can't play this risky a composition anymore. That one had too many holes, too many weak spots. Let's go again for this triple support, triple tank setup and see how this works. Gesture the first to the fray.
Yeah, but because Philadelphia wins that fight rather quickly and now London is switched, they have a pretty big advantage in terms of ultimates, as London's going to use the sound barrier here to keep themselves up. Boombox will use the Transcendence for Philadelphia. You get the main tank and the Brigitte down. That's all the burst healing, you know, that Brigitte can provide. You don't really have to use any more ults, so this is actually looking really good for the Fusion.
Sato's looking very decisive, Matt, already here in this season. Definitely leading the charge for the Fusion and making a lot of these decisions to get these early picks. You saw him in that last fight. The Transcendence really allowed him to play far more aggressively, chasing down those weaker targets.
Well, it's funny, we always talk about like Sato as the main tank for this Philadelphia Fusion roster, like he was like a mainstay. He really only played stage 4 in the playoffs. Like
10 really games and then the playoffs.
He didn't really have a ton of run with this roster. Obviously suspended early on and then able to play for stage 4. Now, maybe with some more practice time, he could be even better for this roster this year.
Carpe doesn't want to use Graviton Surge here. Lets Fury eat it up at long range. The enemy team gets a lot of notice that the projectile is flying. But this might be an opportunity now. Self-destruct goes in, it doesn't work out. Gesture is down and the rest of the Spitfire are forced to just back away. And they will. Might be a little bit of a catch here on the Xayah. Carpe may want to try and make this worse for them and get some use out of this charge. He's doing max damage currently.
Now, I mean, you will have the rally here for London, and you're also going to get close to a Graviton Surge, but you may need to use that Transcendence. Let's say if Birdring takes some damage early to keep him up through that, which will allow Philadelphia to build up those support ults. So that change early on allowed Philadelphia to have these ultimates to put away the game.
See, Poco's trying to hide from Birdring, just in case Birdring tries to Graviton, and he can get a nice little eat on that one. It doesn't quite work out, so the Transcendence is forced to be committed for the Philadelphia Fusion now. We're in overtime. Self-destruct, will it be a Poco bomb? He'll get one. Profit is down. Poco removed as he wasn't benefiting from the protection of his suit, and a sound barrier now keeping the Spitfire very durable as this fight continues over the point. Gesture's forced to use Primal Rage here as he was stunned up, and now he returns to the fray, and he's mad! He's looking for Neptuno, just skating on the edge, but of course Lucio able to get out of those situations. Philly have to move off the point here. They may have to end the fight.
So Carpe getting very close to yet another grab. You see Birdring, because he dies only at 46%. Big Philly taking the point back. Carpe moving forward, about 90 to another grab. He's got to make sure Fury doesn't get this one, though.
2 grabs and 2 fights, straight at a D.Va! This guy is ice cold. That could have been eaten at any point. But it's not to be for the Spitfire. Fury eventually taken down. Boombox finds him downrange. And it is just Gesture sitting on the point now. He'll be dead in just a couple of moments. And really, there's nothing Birdring can do here. That'll be that one. And Philly, they start the 2019 season on the right foot.
Yeah, that Graviton Surge from Carpe at the end, perfectly placed. He puts it right along the wall, so Fury can't eat that one. He ate the one previously. Wanted to make sure he didn't get that one. So it'll be the Philadelphia Fusion taking map number 1 here against the London Spitfire. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break with map number 2.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The pain on the faces of the Philly boys after missing out on that grand final opportunity last year was palpable, very visible. But it's a clean slate, it's a new chapter. And they've already put the period on the first sentence. Map 1 to Philly Fusion, and quite a dominant ending to Ilios, Matt.
Yeah, you know, speaking with the Philadelphia Fusion players, I know before the season, obviously we get together with a lot of the teams. We're able to talk to some of the players. The next map coming up will be Hollywood in this series. They just seemed a lot more confident than they were last year, especially EQO. It's a little bit quiet last year when he came in the roster, when we would see him, you know, a lot of the times
very
they walked
introspective.
Through, yeah, they walked through the cast room last year. We were able to just kind of like get the bands with them, and it was kind of like a little quiet. But like, you know, during the interviews, I was noticing, I was like, man, he's really like become like the spokesman, like leader for this team, which they probably needed.
No, it was great. I hung out with him in Philadelphia when I went for Philly's homecoming, and EQO walks up to me. He's like, Mitch, I'm going to give you some feedback on your casting. And he gives me 30 minutes of straight calls. So, you know, the guy has a mind for the game. He thinks about it a heck of a lot. Great to talk to. And I think his cerebral approach to the game actually sort of manifests in a lot of these opportunities. You know, especially when we see him on Brigitte, believe it or not. It is a hero in which he can sort of flex some of that brain power and try and be the initiator and set things up. The London Spitfire will defend as Philly want to continue this trend of map wins. They're going to be out of the doors here. Again, it will be 3 tanks, 3 supports, whole lot to love.
And I think it'll be important, you know, how Philadelphia plays on offense here is going to dictate what London decides to do. So Philly comes through in a little slow. London doesn't want to give up a ton of space here, Mitch. Actually, they let them just run right on to the point. You don't want to get pushed back into that cafe, right? You get a ton of just AoE damage down. The Carpe, landing that alternate fire. Zarya just laying down those big balls of energy.
Again, opportunities for both Zaryas to gain some charge here. The trading is a bit back and forth. It's usually, the damage is usually healed away, so it doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. But now London transitioned over to the high ground here. Philadelphia need to be ready to receive them. A little bit of a finagle here from the Spitfires that try and gain a better position. But Carpe has high ground. He can continue to charge his barrier up on Sado. He's taking a little bit more damage than the otherwise would like. And yeah, Poco was caught out of position, Matt. He'll be ejected from his mech, and this is not a good start for Philly.
Yeah, and the tough part when Poco gets in that position is we saw from Carpe's POV, he has to use that Zarya bubble to keep him alive, which means they don't have it for Sado on the point.
He's also taking damage.
Right, so as soon as London sees that they burn bubble onto Poco, Gesture just runs right at Sado, and there's nothing there. There's no defense matrix, right? Because he's off to the side. They know there's no bubble. And at that point, Sado has like 2 options. Just stand there with your shield up and just wait to die. Or you put the shield down and swing, you get hit with a Discord Orb and you're dead anyway. So it's a really tough spot for Sado to be in right there. You got to see some better positioning from Philly.
And this is not how Philadelphia wanted to start the round. Look at the ultimates available for the Spitfire. Graviton Surge, aforementioned, just gets let rip straight away. The support ultimates also available for London. If they can win fights like this by only committing 1, maybe 2 ultimates, they can essentially do this until the cows come home or the map ends, whichever one is quicker.
You know, when you watch, you know, the 3 tank, 3 support, comps. It's a lot easier, to gauge the ultimates when you watch, when you're playing dive, right? Genji Blade comes through, you wipe up 3. It's really like the small just abilities that the heroes have that make the big difference. Like the ultimates are great, but they also get canceled out by all the healing with this comp.
And the ultimates on the other team as well, which offer the same.
Right, but it's really like you're looking at like, the Brigittas, right? Do they have the bash up? Do they have that instant burst heal up?
What about this one, Matt? What about a self-destruct? Carpe pretty much soaks it up there himself. Nuff goes down. Transcendence now being committed by both teams to this fight. Fire strike from Sardos. He tries to lead the team forward, and EQO is there with him. They want to push up. A third of the healing essentially is missing for London now, and there was a sound barrier that Nuss had available. Not having him present in that fight was nasty, and now it's ring around the rosy. Sardo's got a pocket full of Earth Shadow though, and he's looking to bring it down. Philly just need to get position on the point without losing players, and Nuss, I guess he makes quite a strong entrance getting rid of Carpe.
Yeah, and Sato actually uses that Earth Shatter inside, and they're trying to get rid of Benocean, which they do. That'll be the grab that comes down from Birdring, and you see there's too many players alive here for Philadelphia. London not going to be able to hold here on point A, at least for now. They may be able to come back on another defensive stand, but it looks like they're just going to give this one up.
It's not the first time. In fact, already in this series that we've seen Sato specifically targeted, for a Graviton Surge. Hold the angry Reinhardt in place so we can deal with him. That time, the Fusion had a Transcendence that were more than happy to commit to making sure the fight that started well ended well for them. 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, Philly. Finally get off to a start.
But when we said that Poco was out of position there, it was actually Gesture the one who was out of position there for London. His teammates go to the high ground and Philly chases, and then he tries to be kind of sneaky coming behind the back stairs, and he gets caught out. That'll be a self-destruct that goes up in the air from Poco, connects with nothing.
Yeah, Prophet able to avoid that one there, whether it was by shield or by blocking line of sight. And a whip shot to find EQO will quickly end this fight. The Fusion have lost too many of their most valuable players here. Now, healers are the first three to go down, which is never a great sign. I'll reset now. Have a look at these numbers over the Spitfire, Matt. A lot of impactful ultimates just around the corner.
You still have there's some of this armor on Benocean right now, so Zenyatta becomes very difficult. The shield's above the armor, right? The shield's regen. So he actually wears that down now, so you won't have any of that.
That will change.
Yeah.
That will change, of course. Armor will go on top eventually. Sato now. Earth Shatter available for him. Graviton Surge used him, but Birdring doesn't get much done. Okay, very happy to have that one for breakfast, and that's got to be the starter's pistol now for the Philadelphia Fusion to be going forward. That self-destruct will make him pause for just a second, but look at that, the blocked Earth Shatter. Sato wasn't even trying to block it. Gesture was just trying to use more ultimates into this fight. Huge commitment for the London Spitfire now, and a Graviton Surge comes out for Philly. Gesture's caught in it. Nice high sensitivity. Brad's not going to do the job of the Transcendence in play, and Birdring will be pushed away. Damn, that's a lot of ultimates committed by London into that fight, man.
Yeah, it's going to be Philly that'll come back with their rally. Another self-destruct and sound barrier to use. For London, you will have the Earth Shatter, you'll have your rally, and
again,
I know most likely you'll get your sound barrier to use as well. So we'll see how they decide to combo these. Maybe Gesture can land big Shatter. Obviously, you can't stun through the Reinhardt anymore. Connect, with that combo. You have to go around the shield to be able to land that.
From the high ground, Carpe again, trying to get a little bit of charge before the fight begins, but Gesture's already in there. Earth Shatter, he's looking for Boombox. Boombox gets a repair pack, and then he gets a second barrier. So much emphasis being put on protecting Boombox by Philly, and it pays off this time. Gesture's down, Birdring's using Carpe. When did you get your driver's license, mate? Are you even young enough? Benocean pushed back, and that will be Philly getting across the line. Nice little back cap to get themselves into the last stretch.
In the position that London's in, and with Reinhardt, how it is, where you can't just run up with the Brigitte and stun and then shatter anymore, just land like a crazy six-man shatter. You have to just kind of play for maybe one or two players, and they actually connect with Boombox there, and they have to all rush over to try and save him. It's not a bad shatter. I mean, you get the Zen, right? That's one of the main targets you're trying to get here, but you have those support ultimates that come through, you keep them alive, you're already committed, you're in this alleyway, it's a tough spot to fight
Boombox was somewhat far away from Gesture when he used that Earth Shatter, and the whole of London had to commit themselves into a small corridor to actually get onto him, so they put themselves in a nasty situation to begin with.
You're at the mercy of where your Reinhardt goes, right?
It's, you know what you want to see, Birdring, Discord Orb just get shredded. And now it's going to be the continued push. Transcendence now being committed to the fight. Carpe happy about this. He knows he can use his Graviton after this ultimate is now no good, but they've lost Sato. Do they commit there in this fight? Do they back away? Looks like the latter is more likely now as they barely having that Reinhardt, but Gesture's shield is being pressured down. He's being forced back. Now he wants to charge up.
Yeah, in London, they know they have to win this fight pretty handily, so they end up using the rally. Neptuno just trying to be sneaky. Challenge Bidoshin one-on-one in the back line. Not going to get anything done there. So you use the rally because you need to win that fight, right? You know, if Philadelphia wins that fight, they move the payload all the way to the end. They probably still have some time left. So, now you allow Philadelphia to come back with some nice ultimates, right? Rally is such a powerful ultimate in terms of support ults to keep everybody topped up.
More importantly, this Earth Shadow could be huge from Sato. Doesn't quite get the result he's looking for, and now the grab and bomb combo. Oh, yes! The X-Fury finds two.
And that's possible because Gesture comes through with the pin of Sato, so you don't have that Reinhardt shield to protect everybody when that self-destruct comes down. Everybody blows up during that. So
one more chance really for Philadelphia here, Matt. I guess the silver lining is that they do have a Graviton Surge to commit when Bidoshin doesn't have a Transcendence. There may be a Sound Barrier from Nas, but this was the window. They're pretty late. Carpe's had this ult for a long time, and the Earthshadow's going to make it impossible for a real fight. They've got to go for it, though. Sato's gone down. Philadelphia now throwing everything at them, but it's not going to be enough. Graviton Surge doesn't combo well with that self-destruct in that case. The Sound Barrier was hefty on the Spitfire, and Neptuno believed he was trying to backcap here. It's just the Drakes of Philly now to come forward and try and get something going, Matt.
Bidoshin will use the Transcendence to touch. It'll be Sato coming back on Wrecking Ball with a slam. Okay, so EQO's going to connect with Gesture. Maybe Philly's able to make something out of this, but Birdring getting dangerously close to this grab could put it away.
Birdring now again, Graviton Surge, as you said, Matt, would be the end. He does get it off. It wasn't the Poco was too busy just trying to stay in the game. It's not going to get the job done on Neptuno. Often is one of the last players to sit around. He will be able to keep a contested, push it forward a little bit more, but that is all that Philly are going to get. And they'll have to be happy with that one. At least they managed to get a good distance here on that first push. We're going to go to a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. Just around the corner, the second half of Hollywood. If you're a Philly Fusion fan, you're probably not too disappointed with the progress they made on that last round, pushing 2 checkpoints and pretty much getting to the last cul-de-sac there is on the map, as you can see there. That is where London now need to get to win this second map and make it 1-1 in the series, Matt. Again, a lot of play between 3 tank, 3 support on this map. Not a whole lot of variation in that regard until the end, where Philly were just trying to get something happening.
In London, when they take out Sato at the end there, that's really where Philadelphia's attack starts to fall apart. Carpe uses the grab. They get a good self-destruct in there, but because Gesture is alive and on Reinhardt and able to block it, there's no damage that came down. I know when you're actually watching the play, you can actually see EQO tries to land a bash on through, but London makes sure they bubble as well as they're trying to connect with the backside of Gesture. It's looked like London is flirting with a little bit of a different comp, but they're going to come out standard 3 tank, 3 support.
A couple more maps in this series, probably an opportunity to see a little bit more variation from them, but this is where we're at right now.
And I think also part of the reason you do see a little bit more of Winston instead of Reinhardt is in case they come out with something that's a little bit crazier than this. If they came out with a few more DPS or 3-4 DPS, let's say, that's where you would need that Winston to kind of jump on some of those targets that are split up.
There might be something here, man. Sato was just respawned. It was a 1-for-1 trade, but that doesn't really benefit Philly as they have a slightly longer distance to sort of walk. So Sato is just about to return now. Jester drops off the high ground here. He's issuing a challenge, telling Philly to come and fight.
Well, they want to try and find a target. Now you see when Sato comes down, that's when the rest of London pushes on through. You just can't find a target when everybody's so split up. The advantage here for London, and to try and get a target out of Philadelphia is to stand on the point, so they have to come towards it. But just like we talked about in map 1, you know, when Boombox got taken out by Bedosian, this time Boombox is the one laying down the damage.
And Bedosian did not have aggressive positioning there, man. He was actually sitting well and truly at the back of London's formation. Boombox just picks him off with a Zenyatta snipe. Love to see it.
So you see they'll leave Fury out of mech here, so he'll have to use that Bunny Blaster, build up a new mech, and then get right back in it.
It's all right. Better than the start of Minecraft where you have to punch trees for 5 minutes to get the first block of wood. You can literally just shoot and actually have some interaction. All right, Carpe, look at the bubble, look at the energy. Oh, it's such pizzazz for him up on this high ground. The Transcenders being used in the fight by Boombox here. Philly just want a little bit more of a robust setup, but they don't find any picks in this fight. Both teams trade off those support ults. The Spitfire, though, will have Nasa's sound barrier available. Neptuno needs to work on getting his ready for this fight, too.
Yeah, London's trying to draw a target out here, and that's kind of what Philly wants because they have that grab to use. So you see it's going to be a long-range grab that comes out from Carpe, connects with a few. The sound barrier comes out. Nothing, though, with that self-destruct.
Yeah, just a great block on that self-destruct. EQO gets pinned up against the wall, and Nas gets the final blow. Earthshatter here for Jester is an opportunity. Right now you can see he's just trying to make sure his team is adequately protected, but he's knocked out of the way. Great boot from Neptuno, getting rid of the Reinhardt shield, protecting the Spitfire, playing inside the alley. Now Jester needs to find a target, stick to it, and remove it.
And I'm sure he wants to use that shatter, but where is the target? There's nobody there. He's got Neptuno dancing above him. You got the Diva coming from one side, the Winston from the other. So now he's going to use it through the card. He connects with the EQO, trying to land on a long-distance charge and knock him out of that Transcendence.
Yeah, he's trying to remove Boombox at least away from his teammates.
Yeah.
He can get the Zen out with the whole Transcendence, which would be even better. It doesn't work out. Yet Sato still caught just as he was trying to back away. That's going to be the first tick now for London. And it looks like Philly don't really want to have any of it. They're going to give up the point after just that. They don't want to feed ultimate percentage over to the Spitfire. The more damage they take, the closer London get to their next round of ultimates. That's not something Philly can afford.
Yeah, and you also want the Reinhardt to come out from Sato, as now you don't really need that Winston, because you know they're not really going to play anything that's like kind of crazy with like a Hammond main tank and kind of running around all over the place. So
again, there is verticality to use here as a defender, but you need to shield your team, especially with London taking this very direct approach. Not a lot of subtlety here, Matt.
Yeah.
There is a full charge on Birdring, and you know he wants to get that grab away, but something would need to be done about Poco before that happens. Oh, just let it go anyway. There was a lot of risk associated with the use of that, but it pays off to a degree. Birdring pushes forward, he finds 2, and now the sound barrier for London is going to set them on smooth sailing here through the Wild West stage.
It's a little bit of a dance, right, between like Birdring and Poco, and if you're Poco, you probably don't expect these long-range grabs to come down.
Well,
they're the ones that get eaten all the time.
You're only aware of the grab and like the millisecond before it actually lands and hits the ground and sort of detonates because it was fired out of line of sight by Birdring. Clever.
And I mean, if you're Philly, you probably expect that grab to come sooner when Birdring is just running straight at your Reinhardt, putting down that damage. It'll be a grab that comes out from Carpe. It'll be a self-destruct from both teams. As Sato actually connects with a pin on Fury while he's out of mech, so you're able to take him out. Big, no defense matrix. That's just another utility that's not there to keep Jester alive. He falls right after.
Credit to Sato. He probably found one of the only targets that he could actually have killed in that particular fight. Obviously, a Reinhardt pin is doing burst damage, so Transcendence doesn't affect it too much. But finding that pick was good, and this sort of allows Philly now just to dig their heels in a little bit more. Also, they still have the rally. They still have an Earth Shatter here from Sato. Boombox's Transcendence, even more important. It's definitely going to win the fight 100% for them if they use it remotely properly. And Sato,
don't even need it.
He's just taking heads off now.
He did not expect to get Nuss there. As he just comes around the corner, swinging twice, comes up with a Lucio. He's like, oh, that's phenomenal. So he just kind of pushes on through after that.
As a Reinhardt player, as a main tank, count your blessings when they happen, and you don't question them. And you try and remember them.
How many blessings happened to you during the community show match?
Oh man,
Okay, none?
oh man, so many. That was fun.
Was it? You guys got crushed.
Depends who you ask. You had an extra top 500 player. Come on, man.
Excuses.
I have not played in a showdown match, a show match that hasn't been skewed against me horrifically. Sato backing up, though. He does have an Earth Shatter here, so an opportunity to use it, but his shield's a little bit low, so he probably wants to try and get aggressive and ask for the bubble from Carpe. And they've done a good well at sort of feinting forward, but they go a little bit too far here. EQO gets eaten up. Gesture taken down in response, but Philly don't really have too much to work with currently. Carpe being charged up is good, but he will eventually get turned on. Like a swarm of hornets, the Spitfire will dispatch him.
Yeah, but once the shield is burned, and you know that the shield is burned, you know the only things you have to worry about at that point are defense matrix that comes out from Poco playing D.Va, and the bubble from Carpe, a burst heal from EQO. Now, at that point, if you're London and you push on through and they burn a support ult and you just kind of like Lucio speed boost back a little bit, you have a huge advantage there. At that point, Philly, you almost have to let Sato die and then come back and try again.
Carpe, there it is. He lets it go. Bit of a bird ring look, and this might be the time as well. With a self-destruct coming in over the top, it doesn't quite get the job done. Both teams using Transcendence. Great block on the Earth Shadow, though, by Sato. Prevents Gesture from actually making the play that he was looking for. Again, shields are low for Sato and co. He goes for the Earth Shatter himself. He does get Bedosian in the back, if I'm not mistaken, but he didn't have the shield up to protect his team from the self-destruct. And as EQO and Sato both going down, now London look like they might be stopped, but a couple of minor things have allowed them to progress, and it's going to go all the way to the wire here on Hollywood.
Oh, that is a tough fight for Philly to lose. And I actually like the use of the Earth Shatter there from Sato, because his Reinhardt's shield is getting low. When the self-destruct goes up in the sky,
you can't use it anyway, right?
Well, he's got two options. He either holds the shield there, and then he gets burned down by everybody else. Everybody gets blown up. So to mitigate some of the damage, he tries to shatter, prevent anybody from laying damage down, then block it. But looks like Philly wants to fight this early.
Why did they play so aggressively?
Maybe force some ultimates out. I mean, they have nothing really to use here. Maybe try and get that grab out or something along those lines, and then come back with like 2 more fights really at this time, because you do have a minute left. So if you force an ult out there, that's great. I mean, if you don't, maybe you build up some of your own, you get a little bit closer to another shatter and whatnot. So just trying to build some ultimate, really playing for like a last like final fight, and then maybe some stall here.
They do have a sound barrier, but they need to stop the Spitfire here. They can't just have a good fight, you know what I mean? Shake hands and walk off after that. They need to actually clean the Spitfire up the payload now. They do have sound barrier. Bedosian's close to yet another Transcendence, which is just something we're probably not too surprised to see by now. EQO somehow gets out alive, and now it's going to be the sound barrier. Philadelphia need to make ends meet now. Bertrand comes in. It's going to be the Graviton Surge used, and that shielding from the Lucio is dripping away. Huge shadow from Shadow, though, keeping things alive in the back. He tries to turn around, but he was knocked into the air. He couldn't shield his team from that self-destruct because it just went straight under the shield. Boombox is forced back now. Fury wants to try and pressure forward. The bird ring is down. It's going to be a close one here. Stun on Fury. He backs away. Sound barrier now used to keep the Spitfire nice and healthy, but they don't have the staying power. They have to back away for 3 seconds. Then they have to get onto the payload and finish this fight, but they don't have the numbers. Fury desuited. Prophet can't really get there now. His mech's all gone. It's going to be the Hammond play, and Carpe back on the signature tracer. Doomfest even from Birdring. London trying everything they have to get this one back, but they're going to struggle. Gesture down. Looks like it's just the Brigitte hanging around here from Prophet. Knocked up his Birdring. Can't do much there. Prophet trying to hang around, stay alive. Nuff has been removed, and now the self-destruct to end it. In the words of the great modern day poet Ariana Grande, thank you. Next.
And Philly comes out there towards the end, and they end up on top in that final fight. When London makes the switches, they try and go for the Doomfist and Tracers. Like a lot of these heroes that can stall, you know, you have some good burst damage, but so much healing on the other side, there's nothing they can do about it. We'll be right back with the second half of the series right after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philly came into this one looking to get even with the London Spitfire. And after those first two maps, it's looking like they're well on their way.
I don't know who those guys on the pregame show were that picked London to really
Yeah,
win
how
this, but
weird,
it's
how very weird. We
cool.
knew it's gonna be Fusion all along.
Of course, I did the same thing. That's the best part of not having to provide predictions. But let's take a look back and see how this thing all played out. It goes back to map number 1, and here in 2019, we're playing Control out of the gates. I love this because it's always a skirmish. We saw the triple going into action. What were some of the big plays here?
Yeah, this was definitely one. A huge shatter from Gesture. Sato tried to get in a sneaky fire strike, but that cost him.
I think there's a lot of times where you're going to be seeing this Zarya POV as we go forward. If the triple composition remains as popular as it is, she is the what makes it go. Carpe really came into his own on this hero during this set.
And look up the cleanup here in the grab. Beautiful headshots coming in from Boombox taking out Bedosian in that. But we saw the Zenyatta's going back and forth. We've seen kind of the evolution of the triple. I think Zenyatta's going to be a mainstay, Hex.
He's one of the best damage dealers in that triple. The other one, of course, being the Russian weightlifter in Zarya as well. A lot of it really depends on how she can manage bubbles and get damage going and get ults going.
Speaking of that Zarya battle, let's take a look at some of the numbers here from our first matchup. We saw Carpe going in on the Zarya, and Birdring was playing her on the other side for the London Spitfire. Who would you say looked better in game, and what did you see from the numbers here, Hex?
Well, it was really a tale of different stages as we went forward on Ilios. Early on, Birdring was very, very good at it, but as you see, Carpe, as we went forward, had higher average energy, and these things kind of snowball together in the composition. Higher average energy means that you're going to do more damage. Doing more damage means you're going to have more ults up better. So Carpe, as the series went on, really started to excel on that Zarya.
I love what we're seeing already, guys. If you're just tuning in here in 2019, it's all about your tanks. Your Zarya is your damage-dealing one. Let's take a look at game number 2. For our second map, we went over to Hollywood. This one of my favorites. We're going to push the payload nice and slow until the ults are ready.
Hollywood was really interesting where these fights took place, and you're also going to see a high ground Zarya as well. Hollywood used to be a very Soldier 76 map. Zarya's taking over that role because who do you have to shoot at her, really?
It's been pretty impressive. So who is kind of shining for you? Here's one of the big slams towards the end of this.
I mean, honestly, what really stood out for me during this whole team fight brawl, which was the entirety of the map, have been the Zaryas. The Zarya grabs have been on point for both of those teams, and then it really just came down on to how the Divas are placing their bombs. We just saw a beautiful one from Poco, who really was a game sealer for them.
And the changes to Diva recently in the newest patch mean that those windows for a Graviton Surge are going to be open a little bit longer.
It's going to be tougher than ever for those Divas. It's going to be fun to watch how these two teams duke it out the rest of the way. Philly is on match point, but guys, that's it for halftime. But we want to make sure that everyone at home is sure to tune in to the Twitch All Access Pass. If you didn't know, for 2019, there's a ton of great new stuff, including access to the Command Center that lets you watch any player POV during that match. And it's only $15, so go get it right now. Guys, the second half is coming up. Blizzard Arena, make some noise. You guys still having fun? I love you. We'll see you in just a moment.
Join T-Mobile and score $20 through the Overwatch League shop on February 19th. Download the T-Mobile Tuesdays app so you can respawn this season in all new gear.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they say that victory often allows you to write history. Well, this is not the history that Philly would have wanted, obviously failing to win in Season 1, but now they have a chance to wipe the slate clean, and they've done so well. 2 maps already to 0 in this series, and the Hollywood one came down to the wire.
Yeah, it looks like Philly, they have a really strong teamwork coming back with, a lot of their players that they had, during the finals. I think obviously some more time in the offseason with Sato, being able to get him in.
They've been workshopping this support setup.
They've been grinding pretty hard. I mean, a lot of the teams, they got here, right after the holidays in like January. They started scrimming all the way up until now.
Speaking of Philly, big shout out to the crew over in Philadelphia, the watch party over at Xfinity Live. Love me a bit of the Fusion fam. Very, very good to me when I went and visited them and hung out for a while. So hope you guys are enjoying the show. So far, they're going to be pretty happy with how things are transpiring, but there is still another half of a series.
The Philly fans are cool when you're from Philly, and then I know you're New Yorker like me. They're not the nicest, most welcoming, but no, it's cool.
I tried to bring Matt along, and I heard from the event organizer like, oh, we can't have him.
Yeah, they're not. New York sports fans aren't allowed in a few cities. The Philly, Boston, it's kind of that whole upper East Coast area.
These animosities exist all over the world, and now a new rivalry probably is born between London and Philadelphia after what happened at the end of the inaugural season, and now there's a way to kick it off here. But it could already be over, essentially, after this next map. London might not have a chance to win this series. Remember, it'd be 3-0 with 4 maps to play.
Every map, like we told you last year, every map matters.
Every map matters.
It comes down to that map.
Can I get that on a wristband?
We should turn it into a song of some sort.
But you're exactly right, especially when it comes towards getting into playoffs, stage playoffs and the like. We play out 4 maps, even if it's a 3-0 result sort of before that fourth starts, because we need to find a way to break ties and the such, and the players want extra time out on stage here. Some deliberations from the Philly fan club there at the front of stage as they're getting ready to cheer their team on.
And obviously it's horrible to lose the match, right? With less matches this year, it's even more impactful. To lose them 4-0 is really tough.
You don't want to do that.
You can't.
We're down from 40 matches to 28, so it's real jam-packed, and the emphasis on each victory map, as you said, is is much higher. Let's put it that way.
Not a ton of time in this season to be average for a bit. You're average for a few weeks.
You can't come out here Dallas fueling that stuff and expect to get some big results.
You're average for a few weeks. You'll have a long off season, as do see. A little bit of a pause here, so we'll find out what's going on and jump right back into the game.
Yeah, so obviously Volskara is an assault map, a little bit different to the ones we've seen prior in this series, or you can kind of think of it like the first point of Hollywood, right, where we're trying to capture a point. So we actually see some different team compositions because of the way the map is. The map type often influences the map sort of topography. So a map like Volskaya actually gives us a lot of that verticality that you were talking about earlier on in the series.
A lot of high ground for the offense to take on defense. Let's say if you're running 3 tanks, 3 supports, you can't really force those engagements, right? Like trying to speed boost all the way around, like the bridges to the high ground. Like you're not able to really kind of get in players' faces and really, try and get some picks early, start to steamroll, snowball a lot of these fights. So I think maybe here on Volskaya, we see our first, real variation in terms of comps. I think, Wrecking Ball is a hero, I think, who's quite strong. Been seeing Muma play him on stream all off season, just grinding out there. And I think he was probably one of those heroes. Remember when Ana came out and everyone wasn't sure, and she was really good.
Well, everyone said that she actually felt a little bit weaker as opposed to the rest of the support heroes when she was released.
Or I think Wrecking Ball is in the same type of spot where I don't think people got a lot of opportunity to play around with him, really mess with his kit, see how it worked with a lot of other compositions. I think he's actually quite strong. I think he could make an impact in stage 1.
Well, it takes our generally understood concept of what a tank is, and then it gives it wheels and a supercharger and a hypersonic engine.
It's shields.
Yeah, so normally we thought of tanks as, these heroes without a lot of mobility, but very good at controlling space, and then Wrecking Ball kind of, breaks that particular mold and has a lot of mobility. Profit's hovering it currently, and it might be something they want to go with here. On Assault, we get different compositions. We won't necessarily have triple tank, triple support setups. Heroes that are good at controlling high ground, hit scan heroes as well. Unlike Ash are an option here. But for Philadelphia to defend here, they will go with a very bulk standard composition. Again, it's going to be that triple tank, triple support here. They've been working on it a lot. It's clear to see. It's got them 2 map wins so far, Matt.
Right now you do see that London is on offense, so we'll get that all fixed up. They're going to be coming
right.
out. Okay, so this is our
spice.
This is our first variation of something different. So now you're going to see the London Spitfire come out with 4 DPS. So you'll have Fury playing Sombra, Prophet will be playing Pharah, Nuss is the solo support on Mercy, and then Bedosian, who we saw in the Grand Finals last year, play so many different heroes.
Hot dang, Prophet's on the Pharah. This is about to get good. So this is that quad DPS composition with the Hammond or the Wrecking Ball as the tank here. This is going to be interesting to see. We've seen a few teams have actually played this. We know that this has been something he's done in scrims. Masato's down already. There is so much damage available for London here just to dish out, and Philly know it. They're trying to take shade.
And this is why you need the Winston sometimes on defense, because you're scared of this happening. So when they come out with this quad DPS, you need Winston on defense to make an impact, and everybody's happy to see Widowmaker back. I mean, last season, so many sick Widowmaker highlights, and Burt Ring was one of the players making a lot of those.
Can you feel the collective catharsis from Twitch chat right now? Seeing a triple tank, triple support comp get put in the dumpster. But now the Spitfire have a couple ultimates after winning that particular fight, so they do have that the recon visor. So now they can obviously see what Philly are not only playing, but where they're set up. And that's going to be important to influence how they approach this next fight. Sombra and Tracer is the Philly setup here.
And it makes it really difficult with the infra site available for EQO to do anything on Sombra. Going to get no value out of that stealth, which is obviously, you know, Sombra's primary tool in their toolkit to make a play. As you see a nice shot there from Prophet connecting with Carpe. Gets him low. Is London on the point? Philly's got to come out and challenge. They get there in the final second.
Philly have no idea what to do against this. It's almost as if they have no response. They're trickling in players now for the time being. It's so easy that Nuss even able to get a resurrect on Prophet and put him back up in the sky, which in turn gives Nuss that much more security, being able to hover over the ground. And there it is, the minefield from the Wrecking Ball. Jester making it very hard, but Boombox cleverly is trying to clear that minefield while he's in Transcendence, so one of his unsuspecting teammates don't fall afoul of them. And a couple of kills have come from the side of Philly now. Bedosian going down, Carpe getting rid of Fury here, and Burberry's realizing that he's run out of teammates, Matt.
You know, that actually got really scary there for Philadelphia, as you know, the EMP plus the minefield there from Wrecking Ball. Devastating combo. So now that London has forced all these changes, I actually think they'll go, so they're going to go triple tank, triple support. So what you want to do is when they run that quad DPS, they want to force a lot of changes from the team who's playing, you know, goats or 3 tanks, 3 supports, and then kind of reset ultimate economy across the board, which they're able to accomplish for the most part.
To the high ground now for London. This time a much more ponderous team composition, a little bit slower. Probably set up here, and again, they're looking for an opportunity. They say, where can we go here to find that first pick? Poco near, trying to make an easy way into the back line by playing the high ground, quickly dodging away from Jester, attempting to get the pin.
Probably wasn't
Twinkle Toes.
Probably wasn't his ideal timing to try and go fly up, and he got hit with one of the ramps that's coming by. He's not able to move, but it's able to make a play there. So Pogo does have that self-destruct to be able to use here, so we'll see. They don't have the Graviton Surge yet to combo with it, but I think they have to have an idea because London made so many changes, but they don't really have anything.
On paper, this is not a good fight for London, based on the ultimates they have available. Transcendence will be great here from Bedosian if he can get that extra 20-odd% before the fight, and they might be waiting for just that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Philly, you know, or you at least should know, you have a huge ultimate advantage in this fight. They'll use the Transcendence to try and engage. They lose Sato, and they actually probably try and use it to keep him alive, try and make it all the way across the map to keep that Reinhardt up.
Somehow Sato dies during the Transcendence, which is unbelievable in and of itself. So now London go into the second part of the fight with a man advantage of the Transcendence and an Earth Shadow. Carpe goes down, the self-destruct behind them though. London are able to respond quickly enough to prevent themselves from being vaporized. And again, they're back in that driver's seat. Sato's pinned up against the wall, and Poco will try and hang around, but it's just stalled at this stage. Even the self-destruct committed just to make sure. This is quite crazy, really, to me, to see London walk in without the Transcendence. Philly gets to pop their trans first. They still lose a Reinhardt. It's incredible. We'll discuss that a little bit more, though, when we're back after the break for the second half of this map.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
told me, I don't know, let's say 4 months ago, that playing 4 DPSs and an unreleased hero as of then would be good against 3 tanks and 3 supports, I would not have believed you. You wouldn't have said that, but I still wouldn't have believed you if you had said that.
I'd be super happy if everybody came in, selected DPS, and you just kind of played some.
What you mean,
variation of
like ranked in Diamond?
Yeah, I guess.
Don't tell me you don't know. I know you spent a lot of time there with me. We have been through the
shade from the gold player, Midge.
I am Diamond. You know that very well.
There's not really any proof of that, but okay.
Just check my profile, bro.
I know.
Matt sucks. Hashtag 1412.
Towards the end there, where we did see Boombox use that transcendence. We were like, oh, maybe he was using it to engage. It's actually Casado's like so far down on the staircase over there that they were trying to use it to keep him alive. Yeah, like coming across the whole point, not able to do so. So the Philadelphia Fusion will come out here. Nothing crazy. They're going to run their 3 tanks, 3 supports. They're going to keep Sato on Winston. So I think actually in this first match, the most surprising thing to me is how much Winston we've seen. And I think you probably play the Winston a ton because if they have Winston on the other side, that prevents you from running a lot of those DPS comps, right? So it's just like a fail-safe here, and you can still play that 3 tank, 3 support that you really want to.
Winston's so great at just finding that one target to stick to and forcing them to pop their cooldowns to even get away. We actually saw a trade of Winston's in this fight. Sato, I thought he was going to get out alive there, but Bidoshin pursued and chased him down to at least make it to 5v5 and equal things up. Fury just trying to make sure that no one from Philly can set up on that higher ground. You can see he's constantly switching between low and high with the boosters, and there goes Sato. He's trying to get into the back. Nuss, there it is. He gets run over there by Boombox. EQO had even reserved the shield bash for him, but they have to trade out Sato again to do it. Fury's going to get demeched here, and Philly have a great position on the point right now, despite not having that Winston.
Yeah, and you know, Jester's trying to get healed up. He's actually out of the line of sight from his Zenyatta, so he's got to come around the corner and get the heals up, and that'll be a big Graviton Surge that goes down. No kills come out of it, though. Poco here. With his self-destruct, you're not going to need to use this if you're Philly, and Philly's going to actually have a really nice combo here, Mitch, going into the next fight. They're going to have the grab, they're going to have self-destruct, you got that sound barrier to keep you up through a lot of it, rally too. They may be able to snowball this pretty quickly.
You know, I thought Poco would have been sat there with that Michael Scott cringe on his face when he saw that Graviton come in and he wasn't able to eat it, even though he's looking at it. But he wasn't given any time by Birdring, and still, it wasn't enough for London to win the fight, so they lose that ultimate. They don't have availability for Graviton for a little while. Now it's going to have to be the self-destruct to try and get something happening, but that doesn't do too much either. It's kind of like a sign that says, beware of the dog, and then it's a chihuahua behind the door.
Well, you don't have your grab to use with it, so you're just trying to buy yourself some time. And now Gesture will be able to use Primal Rage. So this is just buying London even more time, right? They've used Sound Barrier and Rally here for Philadelphia. So London doing a nice job, forcing some of these ults out.
Matt, why is Sato getting picked off so early in these fights? Probably the third where he's been the first player down for Philly.
I mean, when you play, the downside of playing Winston with this composition is that obviously Winston a lot more squishier than Reinhardt. So you have to play in a really good positioning with your Winston. You know, if your Zarya can't hit you with a bubble, if your Diva's not there to fly in with Defense Matrix, because if your Winston gets out of position and the Diva dives in, you're going to lose both of those players instead of just the one.
Well, this time it's Gesture that goes down, the ostensibly more durable counterpart to the Winston in that tank role. Carpe, that is an interesting Graviton surge. And Nas is just going to sit there and laugh all the way to the bank. No, Sato manages to flatten him there, but a lot was expended to get rid of Lucio that had already used his sound barrier. But I digress. The Transcendence is in play now. Fury's trying to work from the high ground. Gesture comes in out from nowhere. The runaway, pin against the wall. And Sato now needs that bubble from Carpe, but he's going to be stunned immediately. Gesture may have been able to turn that fight around with that one quick kill, because now Birdring and co are bringing in the heavy artillery.
Yeah, I mean, now with the Graviton Surges here for London, you will have the Reinhardt to just swing the hammer inside of them, right? So Reinhardt also provides some extra damage. I wonder if Sato decides, yep, he's going to go switch over to Rein. So we're going to have a mirror matchup here, I think. Once you see the Reinhardt come out from one side, your Winston diving into Reinhardt, you know, in the Brigitte, you're not going to live very long.
This feels bad. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stun, a lot of very quick damage. There's always a pin available. Shield bash is going to happen.
I mean, a stun, a Discord, or a few swings from the Rein and a headshot from the Zen, and now Winston's gone.
Self-destruct here for Fury. That's the only really relevant ultimate that's on the board. I guess EQO now finds his rally. Fusion will use that when it's really time to start fighting here. Is it that the rally armor doesn't persist for very long anymore? Decays after a short time. Again, it's just jockeying for position for the most part for now. Now you know they want to fight. EQO uses his rally and they're going to be pushing forward now. Self-destruct coming in here for the London Spitfire though, looking for something, fishing but coming up with very little. Gesture low, his shield gets blown in, and Carpe chases him down now with a charge particle being Boombox. Great timing to come in with the Transcendence here. Both teams have used it, but Philly have all the players still up. Neptuno also commits the sound barrier. You know Philly is serious about this fight. They're going to invest everything they've got and try and get the win here. Nas forced away. He's down. Carpe, 93 charge. Philly get it done here on that second push.
Yeah, I tell you who makes the play there. It's EQO. So you have Boombox in that side room where the Mega Health Pack is, and he's trying to get a little bit to the side of Gesture to be able to land that Discord Orb behind the shield, and then he can push on through. And Prophet actually spots it out. When Prophet's towards the end of the rally and he has, some of that speed boost, he tries to go around on a flank, and he gets Boombox low, and then EQO comes in. Big burst heal, stun. They're able to take down Prophet and then run around the outside, and that's how you see they still have that Transcendence, right? If EQO's not there to protect Boombox, they don't have the Transcendence there towards the end to keep everybody topped up. You don't know what would happen there. Big play there from EQO.
I'll be honest, man. I actually wasn't even expecting to see Neptuno today.
Yeah.
We caught up with him like last week, and his hand was covered in bandages. The guy said, "Look, I've got, having some wrist soreness problems."
Bandages extreme, like tape.
Right, it looked
like
right?
Scotch tape.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. So, but he said to me like, "Yeah, it's all a bit sore right now," and I thought, well, they brought up Elk from the two-way contract, so. It still seems like they want to go with Neptuno here and keep the veteran head on the team. So Elk's waiting in the wings, but Neptuno's like, no, I refuse to go.
It's like he's taking after another player from Philly, like Joel Embiid. He's like, they got back spasms. They interview him. Like, oh, we able to play? He's like, oh, I'm a warrior. It's like Neptuno, he's a warrior. He's battling through it. No, man, the hand injuries for these players, man, no joke, right? Birdring missed some games last year.
Oh, no, and look, that coincided with a real dip in his performance, and it didn't return until those finals. So look after yourself, gamers. It's a jungle out there. Not really. I mean, we live in LA. It's concrete jungle. Same thing, really. Just watch your wrist. Poker push that high ground again, just to see if he can sweep anyone off from the displacement of that charge. Didn't really come up with anything this time, but if they can get a pick onto Nas, or if they can find Bedosian in the back, they'll be happy. That's not what Poker would have liked, though. He actually gets knocked onto the wrong side, taken out of his mech. Sato is not going to survive because there's no defense matrix to keep him up.
I mean, when you lose one of those two heroes, when you lose the Diva, look for the Winston to go right after. Yep. When you lose the Winston, the Diva probably should be there using the Matrix. If they don't have their shift ability to kind of get out of dodge, fly away, probably going to lose them as well. And that's where the push completely falls apart for Philly.
And this is why Zenyatta is such an important hero with these particular setups. So both teams are very durable in general. The Discord Orb really allows you to snowball fights in your favor if you're getting damage on that Discorded target. Without the tanks there, it's much easier to do just that. Gesture now comes to face a micro rocket, so he needs to eject for the time being, but he's already been healed up, so he sets up, gonna wait around the corner. He'll have his jump available once again if he needs to make an adjustment of positioning, and they'll go again.
And you want to get Zen, right? But the issue is your Winston jumps on Zen. You have Brigitte there with a stun and knockback. You get discorded. There's nothing you can even do to combat that. As Sato dives in, they're gonna have to use the trance to keep him up.
Will that be enough? Prophet. Not really sure what he's looking for there with the whip shot, maybe hoping to knock someone off the edge, but he's a little bit too far away. Great timing on the shield there from Carpe to keep Sato alive, who's been really getting punished for a lot of this particular map. Sato was even discorded at the time. Real save maneuver there on that Winston for Philly. And again, Sato's trying to tussle with Prophet. Look in the back line. Boombox is a little bit lower than he otherwise like to be. This Graviton Surge, again, just catches Gesture. He just goes for the Primal Rage. So now it's going to be another exchange. Self-destruct over the top. Poco not affected by that one. He ejects his mech. He doesn't use self-destruct aggressively just to refresh and get back to the fight. But EQO's down.
Yeah, and you actually did have Pogo eat Birdring's Graviton Surge there as well. So you got nothing out of the grab for London. But these Zaryas, you get so charged up. There's so much healing. The fights go for so long. He's going to build up right back towards it already at 60%.
Boombox so frustrated. He tried to save Neptuno with that Transcendence, but it was just a half-second too late. And then they're forced to commit to a fight with a Transcendence, which means they have to try and get some value out of that Transcendence. But they don't have the Lucio there to back it up, and it's very hard to win from a player disadvantage. Rounding for EQO, another grab coming up for Birdring, Matt, so, easy come, easy go, I suppose.
At this point, Philadelphia is committed to obviously running 3 tanks, 3 supports. I wonder why they didn't opt for something different. Birdring with the grab, connects with 3 players. You're going to have EQO and Boombox go down, so Philly's just going to have to die. They're going to have to back out here, try and live another day, but why Philly, right? Sato obviously, he plays Winston. You think obviously he's able to play Wrecking Ball, another mobile tank. With the explosive DPS players you have with Carpe and EQO, why not try and do something a little bit more DPS heavy here?
Sato and Gesture are both suffering. They both have the highest amount of deaths on their respective teams. For Sato, it is about double. You know, sort of his next closest teammate.
I mean, Gesture is dying less than Sato and putting down a lot more damage. You know, it's 7,200 to 5,800. So getting a lot more value out of that win stage.
See, Carpe quickly turns his back. Just, oh, where's my Zenyatta? I need to keep him alive. He expends the barrier to do so. Sato gets aggressive. Oh, it's Easton! Carpe just serves that one up, and I guess Fury's going to get his gains after all. Now back towards the point we are in overtime. They needed that grab so badly, Philly, and now they're going to have to go without it. Ocean very low. They caught him up on that Transcendence. That's the first pick, the first step. Gesture body blocked against the door, down to half before he can get away. London now going to bide their time and try and return to the fight. This could be scary though. Self-destruct. Sato and Carpe have to protect each other. Very clever. Carpe shields Sato and gets behind him, so he blocks line of sight. Neither were affected by the self-destruct. Classy play, a bit of finesse from Philly as they finally get this point 8.
And the biggest thing is that when all the ultimates are used from London, Philly obviously answering back with their own ultimates, they just save that Transcendence towards the end. You just have that healing with the Zenyatta ultimate, you're able to push on through. That's when they're able to find some kills. Push on through the point. Now only 15 seconds or so here to take point B. If you get it, great. If you don't feel that bad.
Yeah, this is more than you expected already. Probably if you're Philly. Carpe is close to a grab though. He's getting a lot of damage. Ocean's down early. This might be a little bit of salvation now for Philly, who look to be languishing somewhat. Gesture also falling. Nuss on the high ground trying to get away, but he's discorded. A great placement by Boombox to put pressure on that Lucio. Now overtime. Oh, we're well and truly in there, but Philadelphia are looking very happy with this foray into enemy territory. 2 ticks, and there'll likely be another here as the self-destruct will seal the deal. And that will be 4 points from Philly to 2 from London, which means the Spitfire now need to turn around and do the same thing to stay in this.
And when Bedosian dies, now obviously it's a huge death there for Zenyatta to fall, no Discord, but he's so close to Transcendence as well. As we can take a look, this grab that comes out towards the end here from Carpe. So, you know, the rally is coming through from Prophet, perfect placement there.
Look, he knew unless Fury has about 5 million sensitivity, that he wasn't going to turn around and eat that one up. The D.Va was already moving. Already, you know, considering other opportunities, and that was the time to go for it. He charged that up very quickly because he maintained high charge on his weapon from the prior fight.
And now I guess we get to see what London decides to do on offense. So they come out with that quad DPS again. It's quite effective. What does Philly do on defense? Do they opt to just go with, I guess, your standard, you know, goats, your 3 tanks, 3 supports, but swap out the Reinhardt for Winston for a little bit more, you know, dive target mobility and whatnot? So
Matt, for those at home who are wondering, what happens if London Spitfire finish and they get 4 checkpoints and they still have time in the bank?
So they'll go again. They'll have an opportunity to take point A, and we'll see if they're able to do that within the allotted time.
Whereas Philadelphia won't have the chance to do that. They've run out of time in their bank. So they now will be defending for the rest of this map.
Poco be on top of the building, just trying to scout. So Fury's actually coming out of the spawn in stealth, and Poco just pre-fires the door and he's able to knock him out of it. So now obviously they know they're running Sombra, so.
Oh, I like that. I like this. Oh, Fury
The
ranging
long
far and wide here. Again, he's probably going to try and embed himself and take his time. It's an interesting spot to put the
Up on that
translocator.
left, yeah.
That's where he'll be returning to when he sort of pulls the plug on any attacks he's making. On to the point now, London. Big shot from Birdring, the headshot was there. And there's the follow-up. Neptuno and Carpe are down. Prophet, great pick from up above. Birdring though. Yeah. Yeah, well, what do you do? Boombox is down. Sato obviously able to punish Birdring for that particular play, but Poco now has to deal with the Sombra on point. Good positioning, at least the setup for the Philly tanks here. They'll be able to contest this for a little longer, but not nearly as long as they would have liked. EQO's in big trouble having done that. He was out of position already. He knew he was probably going to go down, so we tried to commit the shield bash to get something for that.
And you look at this comp that London's running, and if you're Philadelphia Fusion, you're like, why aren't they just diving the Mercy? Like, this makes 0 sense. Like, you should be able to just dive the Mercy, take her out. It's because she has such great mobility. And the heroes you combo her with, right? Prophet can just keep floating in the sky. It's an easy escape if somebody jumps on her. You can fly to the Widowmaker all the way across. You start healing up Gesture as well, and he starts rolling around and launch himself in the sky. You end up building that Valkyrie rather quickly. Nuss uses it there to top everybody off. now they'll move into point B.
You know what's so funny about this setup is that this comp is actually reminiscent of what we saw in the grand final in the Barclays, right? Like more than 2 DPS, solo, healing Mercy.
Yeah.
This is what we actually saw London beat Philly in the grand finals last year with. Even though there have been multiple changes to the metagame and the generally accepted way to play Overwatch at the top level, we still kind of come full circle in a way. Let's see if it works out. They've got another fight to win yet, and 2 minutes and 25 seconds to do so. EMP, Matt. It's going to be so important from Fury. He knows that if he uses that, Boombox will have no shields, and quickly no life. An easy pick. And that's what London were looking for. Gutting the Philadelphia Fusion in a matter of just seconds. Great setup, and now they're looking to pretty much take this one away in one fight. Very clean, very calmly executed as well. A minefield will be left on the point to make it much harder for Philly to contest, and Philly have switched to Genji. Tracer here, but Neptuno's down once more. It's going to be tough. Regal already being forced out here, and that'll be it. Oh, that's a bad sign for Philly.
And London is able to do this, Mitch, because you have such a versatile lineup. Fury and Off-Tank can go and play Sombra, very strong Sombra. Bedosian, we've seen him pick up DPS heroes in the past. We've seen him play a decent amount of Roadhog as well. And then you have Prophet in Birdring. And if you're Philly, you're like, well, if we dive Birdring in the back playing Widow, he just probably grapples, goes away. You have to dedicate probably 2 players to go do that. Maybe Carpe plays a Tracer. You have EQO play a Genji. Everybody else is just going to get dove. You're going to have the EMP there. It's going to take out the supports. You really don't have an easy target to take out here.
Yeah, this is obviously, by and largely, accepted the second best Zenyatta in the entire Overwatch League.
Like Tracer, yeah.
Just like wrecking people on Tracer, which is actually something that Philly did, Philly were also able to do last year. They had Hotbar playing that Tracer. That may not be an option to them anymore.
It's funny, you hide the name there of Bedosian at the bottom. You're like, oh, who are you watching? You're probably like, oh, yeah, this is Prophet, right? Or like,
The Savior will be out there,
Yeah, it's like, when you have... I think that'll be actually a really big thing as the season goes on.
Flex DPS?
Is having off tanks and flex supports and main supports who can play other roles, because you never know when some kind of variation of a comp with 4 DPS comes through, right?
Now, if this map is drawn, if Philly are able to hold London at bay and draw this map, the series will go to Philly. There won't be enough opportunities for London to actually get enough maps to win. So Philly can win here right now still. London have a long road to get back into the fighting here, into this series. And you can see the setup here. Philly finally going for something a little bit spicy. We like that. Widow, Tracer, Sombra, Wrecking Ball to drop in.
Oh, I like this from London. So they go back and they make some changes. So you bring in McCree here. So McCree obviously catch one of these flankers out of position.
Great against Sombra and Tracer, can hit him with a flashbang, stop them in their tracks.
The only thing you don't like is that McCree versus Widowmaker matchup, right? Widowmaker can just outrange McCree in these situations, so that's where you really need to see Gesture and Fury put that pressure up on Carpe.
Prophet, though, he's looking, and he wants Carpe.
He's on the hunt, yeah.
He knows approximately where Carpe is from the last shot fired. He's actually been chased down, so, clever from EQO to try and hold him at bay there, keep him on his toes. Prophet got hacked there as well. Carpe picks him off, but it was a fantastic job from Poco to actually, reduce his faculties. And now we get a classic Carpe moment. Already first match in the season, and he's starting to flex a little bit more. Fury won't do much when he's hacked.
He's going to be forced to jump off the edge here, yeah. Not going to have a lot of time to reset, so.
Philly know they can win this series here. This is huge.
And okay, so this is what I wanted to see. So Birdring will go over and play Widowmaker. In this type of situation, when they have no mercy on the other side, they're playing Lucio and Zen. You get a first pick, that player is going to go into the respawn. No chance of coming back. It gives you a huge advantage. When you have no ultimates on the board, Widowmaker, one of the strongest heroes, getting one of those early first bloods.
This is it, Matt. Last chance for London Spitfire, and they have to make a clean opening. They have Birdring on the Widowmaker as well, so it's going to be an epic grudge match between these 2 Widow players.
They got a touch.
1 second remaining. London do touch. Gesture gets himself the nano boost and forces Neptuno out of position initially in this fight. Now he'll try and set up. There are enemies on all sides, though. He realizes that the Philadelphia Fusion is spread huge, though. What a nade from Bedosian. 3 players unable to heal after the fight begins, and Boombox and Poco, as a result, are down. Sato can't quite get away. A self-destruct on the point here. A victory party for London. And they quickly snatch the series back. Just as it looked like they may have lost it here and now. 2-1 as London get their first in this series, and not a moment too soon.
And you wonder if they found what works. We'll go into what could be the final map after this quick commercial break.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
That's a classic London Spitfire maneuver there, being just, I mean, the inches from losing the entire series, of course, off the basis of a draw in that last map, and then going all the way. We know these two teams. We've seen many map 5s from both Philadelphia and London, respectively, and that is definitely on the table here. You know how they say it's always sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
I just say it's always map 5 in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I saw a great shirt that says that. Always map 5 in Philadelphia. Love to see it. It may well be at this case, and there's something we knew both these teams quite a lot for last season. For Skye, very close affair, Matt. Any last thoughts on that one before we head to Rialto?
And look, London, I think when they came out and they ran that quad DPS, I don't think really Philly knew how to defend it. I think if you're London, you look as that's potentially a strength. Like, do you feel better about Badoshin being your flex support playing a DPS than maybe like Boombox playing it? I think you probably do. And then you have Fury playing Sombra.
Yeah, if
they try and match it, 4 DPS for 4 DPS, that's a game I think London would take any day of the week.
This was something that Philadelphia had the option to do last season when Hotbar was on the team. That extra bit of flexibility allowed them to bring that Tracer into the fold, and he had great success playing that role. So perhaps it's just not something that Philadelphia is confident leaning on, but it's nice to see London find a way to unravel this very lumbering 3-tank, 3-support comp.
And I guess that's the benefit of having a larger roster, right? Because you can be equipped for situations like this and metas that can arise out of nowhere.
You're going to need to be this year.
Oh, without a doubt. Because I think with this year, I think people are going to get even more creative than they did last year to try so many different things. But Ocean comes out on Widow just trying to get a grapple shot, maybe pick up one. So I know 3 tanks, 3 sports for both teams. Sato playing Winston as you have Gesture playing Reinhardt. So just tricking you guys a little bit. We're waiting a little bit longer. See what happens.
So obviously this map, we haven't talked about it too much, obviously, Rialto. It is essentially an escort map, so we are expecting to see a little bit more of that tank and support composition set up. I think someone just, the head just exploded, like, oh, we're playing 3 tank, 3 support again. That's what our IT issue was, yeah, some PC. Not there very much. But we do expect to see teams that play fairly close together because these are fairly, well, while not being linear, there aren't a lot of opportunities to really break outside of, playing through a series of choke points.
And Rialto's choke points are really unforgiving. Like, it's very difficult at times to even take point A. It's kind of come around this bridge. You can get stalled at this corner for a very long time.
Into the water by the defending team as well, quite easily. I think Agility's got a 5K on Lucio on this map and the All-Stars. That was a sight to behold. So Philly out of Fenneke, you can see Sato's tried to wrap around behind them a little bit here and just give them a reason to constantly look over their shoulder. Boombox, great opening. He's done that a few times today, getting that first pick on his opposite number in Zenyatta, and that's going to gut London Spitfire's healing capacity in this fight. Also, Matt, prevent them from generating a Transcendence, which they really want in this mirror match of compositions.
And look, I mean, Rialto is a map, like I just mentioned. You can get stuck at these corners on point A for a very long time. Like when you make this roundabout, and then you have to go into like the courtyard and then go back under like the overpass by the bridge to even take point A, we see tons of teams just lose fights there. Right? This is one map that is really strong for the defense. You have a lot of high ground at the beginning. And I think this is one where you can actually use the Winston a little bit more effectively. A lot of escape routes.
Look, if Philly's arrows darken the sky, London will fight in the shade. That's what they're trying to do right now and make sure they're not taking too much damage. Also not charging up the enemy's eye too much. Birdring pushing forward, Sade dropped down, he immediately got given a bubble, but EQO is quite low. Transcendence, great timing on that one too, but the Spitfire get themselves the sound barrier now. Gesture's missing though, so despite the fact that they're far more durable right now, they don't have the hitting power, I guess, to finish this fight off. And London Spitfire, I'll be honest, they're getting spawn camped.
It looks bad, right? But this is something that actually frequently happens on this map.
That's right.
It looks really tough for London, like just getting around the corner, you're like, oh, they're getting spawn camped. Like, this is horrible for London. Like, this is something that actually kind of happens here. They try and go around the back alley, they'll like flip positions here, as now Philadelphia's kind of moved from where the offensive side would attack from.
Carpe has a Graviton Surge. Looking to make some use out of it here. Poco eats bird rings though. Okay, both Graviton Surges get eaten up by the respective divas, so okay, wipe that slate clean. Now it's down to fighting boots on the ground, so to speak. It was Gesture falling to EQO. Sato cleans up Nasper. It was going to be super hard for the Spitfire to get any traction in this fight. They have a Transcendence. They just don't want to use it here. They're a long way from their spawn because they went around the back way, so it's going to be a while before reinforcements come.
They end up using the Transcendence late here. It's actually answered by the sound barrier. Maybe they thought Fury was going to be able to catch, you know, a few players with that.
This is like a costly mistake, Matt.
And they get nothing. So now you'll see no support ults for London here. I mean, maybe they decide to make some changes, but with a minute to go, you change here, you give a huge ultimate advantage to Philadelphia, and you're looking at a really good defensive stand from Philly.
Gesture has that Earth Shadow. We're close to another Graviton from Birdring and Carpe. So credit to them. They lose their grabs in the prior fight, but they do so much damage. There's so much healing. They stay alive so long, but they just get them straight back. And now we pretty much go for a repeat affair. Gesture takes a fair bit of damage as he tries to push up the stairs, and there's the Graviton Surge. Everyone is tied together. Very nicely executed from Carpe. And yes, Birdring tried to go for one as well, but didn't quite have the same pizzazz.
So, I mean, you did get them to use their Transcendence. Philadelphia, they used the Graviton Surge. You'll come back here, you'll have probably a sound barrier. Maybe Vidoshin builds up towards, you know, his Transcendence. Birdring goes Reaper, so we'll see if they can just speed boost this Reaper in right to the tanks and do a ton of damage.
Reaper loves to get up close and personal, does more damage the closer he is to his target. Actually saw Sato run straight at the screen there, but it's Birdring going down to Boombox. Another critical pick at Sato. Yes, bon voyage as Vidoshin goes over the side, and this is not going to look good on the scorecard for the London Spitfire, Matt. They've advanced 43.5 meters, and now they're being ground into very nerdy dust here on the payload profit. Forced to just try and stay alive as long as he can. Fury just knocked off. Nice little whip shot from EQO there. And it will be the round. That is gotta hurt.
Yo, Sato's Primal Rage there was sick. They tried to. I held myself back from saying dumb lid. I'm waiting until later in the season to bring that one out. But no, he actually goes right over the top. So like I mentioned, like they were trying to speed boost the Reaper in. Obviously, Winston is a great target to take out, and he goes right over the top, uses the Primal Rage, knocks the supports back. This was pretty sick as well. Carpe trying to like keep track of where Fury is. This man's trying to make sure it doesn't get eaten up. Lands on the stairs.
There's a lot happening on screen there as well, and for the players, it's less a matter of them just trying to comprehend what's going on, but also to act on said comprehension. So Carpe, knowing to go for a grab in a position where it probably haven't seen it used too many times before, very effective. Birdring used his at the same time. London weren't able to get nearly as much done with it. This man on your screen, I mean, whatever hero he's on, there's always a sense that, you know, there's going to be carnage.
I mean, Philadelphia in the first half, they only have 3 deaths.
Look at school teacher EQO, just rattling down the orders. And the boys know exactly where they would need to be.
I mean, they know how important of like a revenge match this is. They know how important it is to start the season off well.
You do not want to leave shaking the monkey off your back from, you know, people would have reminded you of, you know, what happened in the grand final. You would have been reminded of it every time someone talks about the champion of the Overwatch League. You know that could have been you.
Is it weird as well? Like, Philly obviously was in the finals last year. They had a really strong year start to finish. It's like I feel like we haven't even talked about them a ton coming into the season. We talked about New York, some of the new expansion teams coming through, like the Vancouver Titans and London again. It's like Philly's just kind of gotten lost in that. It's like you forget how good these guys are.
Because they didn't change the team.
Yeah.
And people seem to think that's an indicator of, well, no, Brian, okay, I'll be fair to you guys. Yiska and co, I know you guys, woke. But this is one fight here. If London lose it, that's pretty much it. So they need to be winning every fight for the rest of this particular map. And the payload is very, very close. You can see the checkpoint just around the corner. Shield Bash already comes out. Gesture takes a heck of a lot of damage early on. The rest of Philly are trying to find the monkey. Poco up to the high ground, dropping down again. You can see that London are being forced away. They're not ready to sort of group up and fight. They've been sort of displaced a little bit.
London needs to be perfect here. Philly can be a little messy. They can brawl it out here. They can lose a few bodies. They'll have that spawn advantage to come back and take this.
Fedosian backs away. It was on the high ground, but Sato's way out of position on this. Reinhardt, it may not matter though. Gesture's gone down. Prophet now as well in a great position just to boop and bump Sato around the place, but that tuner to find a pick on Nuss, and there it is! Philadelphia Fusion! The news story the East Coast team has chosen to write starts off with a bang and with a big fat W.
And their defense there in Rialto was absolutely unreal. They hold them, London Spitfire not even able to make it around the corner. Some really nice plays from Sato, playing a lot of Winston in this series. A bit of a surprise coming in, expected a lot of Reinhardt to be seen. But Philadelphia gets a little bit of revenge here on London. They probably would have loved to have the win in the finals and coming in here, but they right a little bit of the wrongs there towards the end of the season to this match.
I mean, many power rankings definitely put London above the Philadelphia Fusion coming into this first week, and it's vindicating for the players and also for the fans to know that the team that I love that so much is still going to be right up at the top of the heap. We said Carpe would be a player to watch out for. We said he'd be dangerous. I mean, no deaths in that last map. He was pretty much untouchable. Fantastic average energy, up about 50%. Way ahead of Birdring in that regard. Looking very sharp to finish the series off.
Yeah, I mean, Carpe never really looks bad. One of the better players in the league, in the running for MVP last year. I believe we have Danny on the floor with Carpe for a few words.
What a match. Blizzard Arena, make some noise for Carpe and Philadelphia Fusion! Carpe, Grand Final champions have been beaten by you and your teammates. You finally got your revenge. How do you feel? 자, 복수전에 드디어 필라델피아 퓨전이 성공을 했습니다. 카르페 선수, 소감 한 말씀 부탁드릴게요.
인터뷰에서 4대0 내겠다고 했는데 못 내서 조금 아쉽고 그래도 기뻐요.
So during an interview, I remember I said it was going to be an easy 4-0. I'm a little sad that that didn't come true. It was 3-1. But overall, I'm very happy that we got the win. All right. So second